In this module, we're going to focus on in-house courses. To work on your courses, we're going to come to the left-hand navigation panel and click on Learning. From the subheadings, under the Learnings panel, we'll click on Courses. This is going to bring us to our courses page and is going to list all of the in-house and third-party courses that have been entered into the database. When working with any type of course, it's good to keep in mind that a course for CE Manager has two levels. You have your course profile level, which is the base course information, the title, the description. Then you have the session level, which is the instance of the course, the day it's going to happen, what time it's going to happen, and in what format it's going to be given. We're going to start our journey with the courses by adding in a new course first, then coming back to this screen to show you the different filtering options. To add a course into the system, we're going to click on Add Course from the upper right-hand corner. The first step is to tell CE Manager the type of course you're going to be creating. We're going to choose In-House Course, and we can start creating our course profile page or level. All of the required fields are denoted by asterisks. Everything else is an optional field, which will help you display additional information to your users, which may encourage them to register for the course more. I'm going to start populating my fields by copying and pasting some course information from an external document. The external document could be an email, it could be a PowerPoint or a Word doc that was sent to you. The point of this is anytime you're pasting and copying data into CE Manager, you want to click into the field and right-click and paste as plain text. What that does, it makes sure that no background coding or special characters are included in the pasting. I'm going to choose my provider, which is the firm that's responsible for providing the certificate of attendance. It's going to list our in-firm provider names. You have your course code. If your firm tracks course codes, if you have a very robust course profiles, you can populate the course code here. It is optional. Your private administrator notes, this is where you can populate any information that is only viewable by the system administrators. Nothing in here will be viewable by your end users when they pull up the course or receive a course invitation. Your categories, here, this is where you can populate that additional data that may encourage your users to register for the course. If you tracked competencies and this course fulfilled particular competencies that an attorney was assigned, we're going to select those items, as well as the department this firm is geared towards, and some practice areas. If you use levels to track the levels of your employees in your firm, we can populate this so your users know which level the course is geared towards. You have the option to include class year as well if you track that. And you have the option to include tags, which is essentially a hashtag for this course, giving you and your users more information about this upcoming course and session. For this scenario, I'm going to say that this is a course in the fall sessions. Once I have my category selected, I'm going to populate my course description. I'll click into the field and right-click Paste as plain text. I'm going to do a quick review to make sure everything that I want is populated correctly. And once I'm happy with all of my data entered, I can click Save, and that will create my course profile. Once I click Save, I'm brought to my course profile page. And just looking from top to bottom, you'll have the firm name, the course title, the course code that we populated. We have 2 tabs here. Our sessions tab, this is going to list all of the upcoming sessions that we've entered and any past sessions that we've already had. Your course details will let you review the data that you entered in for the course profile. If any of this data needed to be updated or changed, you can click Edit Course from the upper right-hand corner. And that'll give you a side panel to update that information. I can click back if I wanted to go back to the course page, but I'm going to go forward and create my session. In a new session, you can do that from 2 links. If there are no sessions found, you'll have the option in the middle of the page. But what's going to be a constant addition would be here, the Add Session button on the left-hand side. Clicking Add Session will bring you to the collection of the session types that you can create. You have a single session, which is a one-time offering of the course. It's happening next week on Wednesday at 3 p.m. You have the option to create a simultaneous session, which is a course being held at the same time in different locations and/or formats. Your multi-part session, this is going to allow you to create a type of credit event marathon, where you have one overall event name, and you can have breakout sessions with their own individual topic titles and individual credit types and amounts. This will also allow you to create those sessions on different days and different times. You have a recurring session where you can create a course that's happening at a defined frequency. This is where you can have a course or session that is held on the first Monday of every month for the next 5 months. We're going to focus on a single session. To create a single session, we're going to populate our information. The session details, our session title gets pulled from our course title because it's the same. We're going to choose a format, the way we're going to be providing this course. I'm going to have this be a webinar type course, so we're going to be held over Zoom. I'm going to scroll down to my different formats, and you can see that the different format types are separated by categories. And I'll scroll down to webcasts, which are all of my webinar sessions or formats. And I'll choose video conference approved for newly admitted. I'll have the course be held later today. I don't need to put an end date. The system will auto-populate the start and end date to be the same. CE Manager automatically assumes that the course itself isn't lasting more than 24 hours. I'll select the time. We'll say that this course is going to happen at 4 p.m. today. So we'll do 0400 and hit P. For the end time, if you did not want to populate the time by entering the numerical number, you can choose the little clock icon. And this is where you can choose your time by clicking and dragging the hand to the hour, and then the hands to the minutes, and making sure we choose the appropriate AM or PM. And click OK. For my location, I'm going to leave as not applicable. Since this is going to be a webcast or remote session, I don't have a physical location for the attorneys or the accountants to attend. My room is going to be blank, and my time zone defaults to Pacific because that's my firm default. I'm going to click Next to continue entering data for this session. Here we see session details and when and where. We've already covered these 2 sections in the previous page. However, a new field that is going to show would be the published settings. This button here is what tells CManager if you want this session to populate in the learner's portal or not, which is your end user's view. It being published will show on the course catalog for a user to search for and self-register, and on the course calendar for them to see that it's coming up later today. If you did not want this viewable to your users in the portal, you can toggle it off and unpublish it. This will still allow you to work with the session. You can still send out course invitations, evaluations, and validate your users. All this does is hide it from the portal view from your users. Scrolling down, our next field is registration approval. This is going to require you to approve each individual's registration. For example, if we invite 150 people to this session, as those individual users register for the session, they will receive a notification letting them know that their registration is pending approval. You as the admin will need to come back to the session periodically and approve or deny each person's request to attend this session. As they get approved and denied, the users will receive that notification, and if they were approved, they will receive a calendar appointment to their Outlook calendar. For this instance, since this is a webcast, I don't really have a limitation that I want to impose on this registration, so I'm not going to require registration approval. For the additional information, these are different features for the session. One of them is an evaluation. Would you like to send an evaluation to your attendees after the session is complete? I do. So I'm going to click my drop-down arrow and choose my evaluation template form. All of these other fields are built into the sessions. Questions allowed. This is built in for two reasons. One, if you are providing New York CLE credit, the New York board wants to know whether you allowed questions to be asked during the session. This also will let your attendees know that they can ask questions. Allow individual attendance state. This defaults to being no. However, if we turn it to yes, this is going to allow you to validate a user on a different date than the date that the session was held. For live events, it's not really a good feature to be turned on because when someone attends this session, we want it to match the exact date that the session is being held. So I want this to be toggled off in this instance. You have some additional options where if you wanted to put a registration limit, if you can only host a certain amount of users on the webcast, you can set that registration limit. You can turn on the waitlist option to work in conjunction with the registration limit. If you were charging a fee for admittance, you can populate the cost of the session. And if you're allowing outside attendees, which we call clients, you can set it to yes or no. If this is a fully in-house course, meaning only your employees of the firm will be attending, we want it to be set to no. However, if you did want to invite those external attendees, we want to toggle it to yes. I'm going to have it be no for this instance. You have an option for private administrator notes as well. This is if you needed to enter in data specifically for the system admins to know and review. For the program URL, you can populate the clickable URL link for the web meeting here. The downside to populating the link here, it will not create a hyperlink. It will populate the full link, meaning you'll see the entire link entered. Let me just paste that in there. It's going to give you the full long URL of the meeting link, which isn't that visually pleasing. So I like to put my meeting information in the session information and populate the session description. This is going to allow me to keep the hyperlinks that I've copied and populate that in the field. Now, when you're copying large data that includes hyperlinks and clickable items, CManager will ask you, do you want to keep that information? I do. I don't want to clean it, which is going to remove all my hyperlinks. I want to keep that. So if I use that option, it's going to keep all of the formatting for that information. This way, when the users receive the course invitation and the calendar appointment, this is how it's going to look. The last option is to add materials to this session. A material could be any type of documentation or link that you want to include along with the session invite. To add a material or a document, we're going to click Add from Library from our Materials box. And the side panel will start listing all of the materials that you have previously uploaded into your library section. I have about 54 different material items. If the document that I need was not previously uploaded to my library, I can come to my Upload Materials button here, and I can drag and drop it directly from my desktop, or I can browse my local folders. I'll grab two documents and click Open. And it's going to do two things simultaneously. It's going to add the material to my session and to my library for future use. Click on Next, and I get to review the files. Any material that you're adding into the system is going to have two names or two titles. You'll have your file name, which is the original file name from your computer, and you can update the title of the material. This is where you can clean up that file name if you happen to have some random dates or special characters in the file name. I like this, so I'm going to leave it and click on Finish. And here you can see my materials have been added. My firm defaults all of my materials to be private, meaning when I send out this invitation, the end users will not be able to see this information. We give you this option because we wanted the material section to be a good holding place for any type of documentation that is needed for this session. You can upload an accreditation form, the instructor's reference materials, the attendance sheet, as well as the items that you want your users to have access to. And you would choose that by making some of them private and some of them public. I want all of them to be accessible, so I'm going to make them public. In addition to the actual documents, you can use links as well. I'm going to go back to Add from Library. If you have an existing link that's saved in your library for future use, you can click that. Or if I do Upload Materials, instead of uploading a file, I'm going to go to Link, and you can create a new link for your users to have access to. You would paste the URL, and then this is where you can display the name of the URL as a hyperlink. I'm not going to use a new one at the moment, but I will use this, which is the link to my firm database. So this will bring users to the login page. And I'll allow them to have access to that as well. Once I'm happy with all of my information here, I'll click Next to add credits to this session. Here's where I can populate the credits that the course is going to offer. My firm is accredited in a number of jurisdictions, both legal and accounting. But I also have my little firm favorites here, which are the credits that I use primarily on all of my courses. I'm going to populate 2 jurisdictions. We're going to give this course New York and California credits. Once I have that selected, I'll click Next. And I can select the amount of credits that I'm going to provide. We'll have this be a general course. We'll do 1 general credit. Now, for your properties, each jurisdiction has some additional qualifiers or properties that you may want to choose from. Under qualifiers, you have the option for reciprocal and participatory. Participatory is particular to California, where it will allow you to flag the credits as interactive and that the users participated in the session. The other properties are your newly admitted requirements, if this course was fulfilling the requirement for the new attorney training program. For California, for this session, they do not, so I'm going to leave that unchecked. Your approval option, this is if you were getting a one-time approval for a jurisdiction that you are not accredited in or normally provide credit for. My fake firm is accredited in California and New York, so I'm not going to populate those fields. The credit expiration date, this is specifically for your on-demand courses, so we're going to skip that in this session, and we'll cover that in one of our later trainings. For New York, I will populate 1 professional practice. Now, for the properties, I am going to choose a qualifier of transitional. So this course gives credit to our newly admitted New York attorneys. The special conditions, this is specific to New York, where the New York CLE board does require you to make sure that you submit and report the New York credits that you're providing. So this is what's going to make sure that this course is populated in the upcoming report for the end of the year. I'll skip the approval and credit expiration for New York as well. Once I'm happy with the credits that I've entered, I'm going to click Next. And on this page, I can review all of the information that I've set for this course and session. If I needed to make any updates, I can click back to go through the previous pages, or I have these quick edit buttons to edit the credits and edit the details. If I wanted to double check on the credits that I've added, I can hover over the credits that are listed here, and I get a little slide box to show me the credits that I've chosen. I'm going to click on Finish. Once I do this, the session will be created, and it will immediately populate in the portal for your users to look for, search for, and register. So here we have my session fully created. It brings me back to the course profile page, and on the Sessions tab, like I've noted before, this will list all of the sessions that are connected to this course, whether it's for today or if I have a couple of sessions scheduled for upcoming dates. You see a little bit of an overview of this session. You have the course title, you have the time, the format, the date gets denoted here, and we have some overall counts here. The R will show you how many people have registered for the session so you can keep track. The T is your tentative count. This is if you allowed users to tentatively register for a session, it's going to keep track of the number here. If you are using that registration approval, your pending count here will show you how many people you have not answered yet, meaning they're still waiting for you to approve or deny them. The last section here for V, this is normally going to be populated once the course is done, when you start validating your users to say that, yes, these people who registered have attended the course and we're going to award them credit and generate a certificate for them. Now that our session is complete, I want to let our users know that this session exists and invite them to the upcoming time. We're going to do that by clicking on the course name on the session, and it brings us to our session page. This is that second level of any course that has been entered. Starting from top to bottom, we'll do a quick review of the entire page. You have your provider, title, course code. You can go back one page. You can edit the session if you needed to make any updates to the data that you populated. You can also edit the credits if you need to make an update to the credit amount that you've added. You have your session overview here, where it just reiterates the data that we just saw on the profile page, the date, the time, the format, the overall counts, and then the credits. Clicking on this button is going to open up that side panel for you to see your credits, and you also have the option to edit them from here as well. You have another clickable link here where you can add the instructor who's going to be running this webinar. I want to choose my instructor, so I'll click here and I get a side panel that opens up where I can choose the instructor from my list of existing profiles. I'm going to choose Richard Bouquet. He's going to be my instructor. He's located in London, and I will register him for this session. Since we're manually registering Richard for the upcoming session, CManager will ask us, do we want to send him a calendar appointment? Yes, I do. This way he knows that he has to come to this course, or let him know that he is instructing the course. Once we've registered the user Richard, he's going to list on our participant tab. And the participant tab is going to show you every user that is essentially participating in this session, all of your instructors and all of your attendees. You have a tab for your invites. This is where we're going to send and email our course invitations from. The same thing for evaluations. We'll email them from here. Email settings. This is where we can set some automatic emails from this course. We'll touch on this briefly. And then you have your session settings. This is if you needed to change the template of either the attendance sheet from the default or change the template for the default certificates for California or New York, which are the jurisdictions that we chose for this course. I don't want to make any of the changes at the moment, so I'm going to toggle over to our Invites tab to email the course invitations. We're going to click on Email Invitation right here from the left-hand button. Clicking on that button will bring me to my Send Invitation page. I can start making some edits and selecting my invitees. Let's review the Send Invitation page from top to bottom first. Your different fields here, if you have more than one template that you would like to choose from, you can select the desired template from this drop-down menu. However, my default one is listed here. If I had multiple templates that had different logos or email banners, this would be where they would populate. The reply to section, this is going to automatically default to whoever's sending the email. This is a new feature in CManager where if you send out an invitation or any type of email from the database, you can set who is going to receive that reply when the receiver replies to the email that they've gotten. If I want it to be different from myself, I can have the reply person be LMA Cassidy. The send as Normally, it would default to whoever's sending the email. However, I don't want my email to say that it's coming from me, Eric. I want it to say that it's coming from the ANF Professional Development Team. This way, my users are more inclined to open and read the email. We'll come back to the to section momentarily. That's where we're going to use to select our invitees. Your subject line auto-populates what type of email. It's a course invitation, and it populates the course title that you've chosen. If your user has an administrative assistant, or maybe a secretary or an LAA assigned to them in the database, you can toggle this to yes so they receive a copy of their individual email. Since we included materials on this invitation, I want to make sure that the links are included in the invitation, so I'm going to toggle this to yes. And scrolling down, we have our email template. Each email that is sent from CManager sends about 27 different emails, ranging from course invitation to a certificate of attendance email. Each one can have their own customized default template. I have my logo populated, my default email body already populated at the template level, so I don't have to type this in every time I send a course invitation. This token here, which we will cover when we go over the system configurations, this is where it's going to pull in the course data and the session data. So right now in the preview, you see that it says course title, provider, course description, and we have some lorem ipsum, which is some fake filler to show you how the email would look. I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to come to my to section. It started listing a few users right off the bat if I wanted to select the users listed here, but I want to search for a large group of users. So I'm going to come to my advanced search and I'm going to start selecting the users I want to attend this course. I can manually search for the users by name individually and start selecting them one at a time. I can select the entire firm, which is a total of 58 users, by clicking this little drop-down arrow and click all. That's going to get everyone across all of my pages. I don't want that selection at the moment, so I'm going to just deselect everybody and come to my filter options. Here, I have my advanced filter search, where I can search for a group of users by office location, license, position. If I have a specific group, which in our terminology for CManager, a group list is a distribution list. So I can use my group list of, let's do CManager, and we'll apply that filter. So here I have my filtered list of users based on that distribution list, which is a total of 12. And I'm going to select all of them to invite. But the one person I'm going to deselect is Richard because I've already registered him as the instructor. So we'll just go ahead and deselect that user. Clicking add will populate them into the to field. Now, the to field here does not work like your standard to field in Outlook. When Alan receives his course invitation, it's only going to show that it was sent to him. He won't see that it was sent to LMA, Roman, and Nate, and the other users. Now that I have everything populated and selected, we have some additional options here in the upper right-hand corner. If you've gotten to this stage and you have forgotten to add a material, you can click on Show Attachments. If you have an existing material in your library already, you can click into this field and start searching for the name because this is a keyword search. or you can upload a new file directly from your desktop to attach to this email. I already have my materials listed, so I'm not going to use that, and I'm going to hide that attachment filter. If I wanted to add a CC or BCC, I can include this in the dropdown and choose how they are going to be copied. Do I want them to receive one copy of the email, or do I want them to receive a separate one of each individual email that I send? So I selected 11 users. This option would send the CC and the BCC one copy of the email so they know that the email has been sent. This option will send them 11 CCs, one for each individual user, Alan, LMA, Roman, etc. I don't want to include any CCs or BCCs in this option. And then lastly, you can preview the email so you can see how the email is going to look when it gets sent to your user. And you can see here that the lorem ipsum and all that fake data has been replaced with the course's actual information. Now that I reviewed the email, making sure everything is the way I want it to be, I'm going to click send. And my email is being processed. On my invites tab, I have all my users listed. Now, once you get to this stage, the action is normally complete. You send out the invitations and you're going to wait for your users to start registering for the upcoming session. So I'm going to navigate away from this course and come to the home page. So here on the home page, I have that the course is happening later today at 4. And here's my email logs. I just sent this email. It's a course invitation, and the status was sent to my 11 users. If I wanted to view the list to confirm, here we go. And here you have the CCs. Now, I didn't add an additional CC, but I did hit that toggle to automatically copy each user's administrative assistant. And these users happen to have administrative assistants on their profiles, so they automatically get CC'd. Roman has more than one. That's why you see the +1 here. To look at the actual email each individual person received, you can come to the action dots and view that email. And I can see the email that LMA is going to receive to register for this upcoming video conference session. Now, let's navigate back to the courses page. I'm going to click on learning, go to courses, and I'm going to search for this course so you can see the filters options that are available here on this view. On the course page, you're going to see immediately listed all of your existing courses, the title, the format that the course was offered in, how many sessions you provided for that course. You'll have the course, the provider of the course. And this little green dot denotes that it is an active course. On these additional action dots here, clicking on View Details will bring you to the course profile page. You can see all of the sessions that are connected to that course. You can quickly add a new session if you know that you're going to be giving this course again in the near future. You can edit the session information. You don't have the option to delete this this course, because you have sessions on the course already. You can archive it if this is a course that you're not going to be offering anymore, or you can clone it if you want to make a duplicate course. You can also email a course announcement to your users to notify them of this upcoming course, or you can select multiple courses and email a course announcement notifying them of the group of courses. I'm going to go ahead and archive this course by clicking Archive. Yes, I want to archive the course. And you can see it gets removed from my list. And if I click on my drop-down menu, I have my list of archived courses that I'm no longer offering. I'll come back to active courses. You can search for your courses by using the filter option. Here you can search by the date that the session is being provided. You can filter by provider as well, in addition to the format, the practice area, and any other detail that you've added on the course or session. You can get as granular as searching for a course that's provided by a specific instructor or offering certain credits. So let's do a filter. I'm gonna search for an instructor of Bouquet, and I'll apply that filter. So here I did that filter of typing in Richard's last name. And these are all the courses that Richard is going to be teaching or have taught. With your filter, you can create a saved search, so you don't have to come into this field and type in your searches over and over and over again. You can do a saved filter or search by coming to the little floppy disk here. And I'm going to save this view. I'm going to type instructor Bouquet. I don't want this to be my default filter, meaning every time I come to this view, it's going to filter just for Richard's courses that he instructed. So if I save that, it's going to come to my save filters here. It's going to add a new filter. I'm going to clear my filter by clicking on this little refresh button here. And now I have a dynamic save search. And it's going to search for all of the active courses that Richard is an instructor for. I say dynamic because as you add additional courses that Richard is an instructor on, they will be included on this filter. So you won't have to continuously add filters to this search. I'm going to come back to active courses, and I'm going to search for that existing course. All Rise. So here's my current course that's upcoming, the title, the format that I'm providing it in, the session, and the provider. To get to my session, because it's happening later today, I want to check up on it. I can click on the row here, and it's going to open up a side panel where it's going to show me all of the sessions that are connected to this course. I can get to this view another way as well. I can click on the actual course title. It'll bring me to the course profile page, and I can navigate to the session. However, since this is today, I may navigate to this from the home page. I see it here listed on this week's sessions and clicking here. And as those invitations get sent out, here is a copy of the invite that the users may receive. You can see that it was sent to me, and it said it's from the A&F Professional Development Team. It has my default data. I'm sorry, my default text body that I've added. It has all of the course information that was included, as well as the meeting information. And this is where I can register for the course. So I can click on details and registration. Oh, let me just reopen that. It froze for a second. Apologies. So here I can scroll down and click on details and registration. and I can register for this upcoming course. Now it's going to reiterate the course information that was on the session, the title, the course data, the information for the video conference. I have access to the materials. Here's my link that's going to take me outside of CE Manager. And here are my options for enrollment. I can decline, enroll as tentative, or fully enroll in the program. I'm going to enroll as tentative. Yes, I'm sure I want to enroll as a tentative attendee. And I'm going to receive a calendar appointment on my Outlook calendar as a tentative attendee. So if I refresh my page here, on the participant tab, you can see here that my participant number has increased. I have one user who's registered, which is my instructor, and one user that's registered as tentative, which is me. Now, as your users start registering for courses, their participation numbers will increase as well. However, if you wanted to manually register a user and cut out the process of sending out an invitation and straight register a user for an upcoming course to send them a calendar appointment, you have that option as well. On the Participants tab, we're going to come to Register Attendee. And here you can filter for your group of users. I'm going to filter for that same group list, CE Manager, and hit Apply. And I'm going to make my selection. I will select everyone. I'll just deselect Richard. And register. And it asks you, do you want to send them a calendar appointment? You would normally click yes. I'm not going to. I'm going to click no because I don't want to bother my colleagues with additional calendar appointments. And here we have our full list of registered participants. On the participant tab, it's going to give you some details about each user. You'll have their name, their location, the license that they hold, including their bar number. Once we validate the users, their certificates will list here. You have their current status, and this will list if they have adjusted credits. Now we're going to jump forward in time and pretend that this is the time right before the session. You can come to your main action dots up here, and you have some session actions that you can take. You can print an attendance sheet. You can unpublish this session. You can clone it. You can decide to cancel it to let everybody know that the course is no longer happening. If you have an external attendance sheet, you can upload that option. This is going to be covered in a future advanced training. You can copy the link if you wanted to send a registration link versus a full invitation. You can print a blank certificate if you wanted to have a number of at the ready certificates. If you were having this, let's say in-house for some external users, the blank certificate will list all the course and credit information except for the attendee name, where that external attendee will have the option to write his own name in, or you can write it for them. You can upload an accreditation form. You can add a group to the registrant here, or you can create a new group, which again, these are both considered in our terms to be distribution lists. So now let's jump a little bit forward. We don't need our attendance sheet. We're going to pretend that this course has taken place, and we're going to validate our users. Now, I have registered as tentative, but let's say I did show up. I said I might, but we're going to say that I fully arrived. So we're going to select everybody. And we're going to go forward and validate our users. We're going to come to Actions and Validate. Do I want to validate everybody to say that they came to the session? I do. Now, all of my participants have been validated, and because I have an instructor in my selection, I have the mid-stop here to update that instructor's credits. So let's do that. Let's increase this. California is a ×4 state, and then New York is ×3. And I'll go ahead and change the instructor type to speaker and click Save. So now we have everyone listed as validated. My instructor has adjusted credits. I can see that from here. So I know instantly that this user's credits are different from what the main course offered here. If you had another user that only attended part of the session, you can scroll down to their individual action dots, and you can adjust their individual credits as well. And we'll just give them half credit. And click Save. Now that I have my adjusted users, I want to send the certificates of attendance to my attendees. So I'm going to select everyone, come to my mass actions, and I'm going to click email. Now from the mass action email option, you can send a direct email, which is a just, hey, how you doing type of email, a compliance report, a certificate of attendance, and a course reminder. We're going to send a certificate of attendance. I'm going to select all the certificates over and click Next. And now we're back to our email, our send email page. My to field is already populated because I previously selected the users. And I'm going to go forward and send this email to all of my attendees. But let's make a few adjustments. I do want to include the name of the course. And here you can send a copy to the administrative assistants. Only send certificates for licenses held. So I selected 3 certificates to be emailed to the user. What this does, it's going to filter out those certificates to the appropriate attendees. So I have the multi-credit, California, and New York. If any of the users if I have this toggled as yes, it's going to filter out the licenses to equal each jurisdiction that each user holds. So for my users that don't have New York or California, they will receive the multi-credit certificate. For the users who only have California, they'll only receive the California certificate, and New York will only receive New York. This way, the system doesn't send them multiple links to multiple certificates to be downloaded. You also have the option to still include the links to the materials. I'm not going to do that. I just want to send the certificates. And I'm going to go ahead and hit send on this. And now that's off to the processing to be sent to our attendees. I'm going to just deselect my users. Now, on the Invites tab, when I had initially invited the users, if they register themselves, you're going to list their response date for each one. Here's where I can send an invitation to all of my users that attended. So I'll go ahead and select my users. I'll select all, and I will email the invitation. And I get brought to the same field where it's going to send out this email. And the only update I want to do is add the name of the course. And I'll go ahead and click send. So here is my certificate of attendance email that I received. It's going to say my name. I grabbed the one that Richard received. It's going to list my default information that I added on my template, and it'll give me access to the certificates that I've selected to be sent. Here I can see, if I click on that link, my New York certificate of attendance. I was an instructor, so you can see here, if I zoom in, that my credits for attendance is 0. My credits for instructing the course are 3. Now, for the multi-credit, I selected the option for this to be sent. And here it's just going to list all of the credits that were awarded to me or that I potentially earned by taking the course. For your evaluation, here is the evaluation request. It populates the course information so you know which course you'll be evaluating. And the user can click on Evaluate. It'll open up a new tab where they can complete that evaluation form. Let's run through this eval a little quickly. I'll submit my evaluation form and confirm that I'm ready. It was successful, and I can go ahead and close this view. Now, to refresh my page, I can see here that I completed the evaluation. And as your users start completing the evals on different dates and different times, the response date will list here. And from those responses, you'll be able to come to the main actions and view the evaluation report. And it's going to start populating the percentage of each answer that all the users completed, so you get a nice statistic view of the response to this course that was held. Now, as soon as a user is validated on the course, their profile information instantly gets updated. So let's toggle to my profile here. And I'm just going to go to my transcript because this is the easiest for you to see the most recent completed courses. And here is that course that I completed. I have the date that it was done, the course title, provider, the format, my individual certificates, and the credits that were part of this session. And you can always toggle back to the course by clicking on the course name here. That wraps up our in-house courses and sessions for Module 2. Thank you everyone for attending and have a wonderful day.